You're listening to Real to Real with Coach Herb and B, a podcast that brings you community and culture with your host, Coach Herb and B.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Coach Herb and my girl, we're always joined by Miss B.
Hey, y'all.
Pinky.
Lord.
Also, Mr. Ben, hiding in the background and behind that avatar. And we are Miss Darolyn.
Darolyn. Yeah.
I love that.
Thanks.
I've never had to say, so that's like a blend of what?
The D from my dad's name and in front of my Aunt Carolyn's name, because she was the first one to visit my mom when she had me.
So like what?
I never knew that.
I knew there was some sort of connection because I was like, I've never ever had to say, I've never heard that name before.
Yes.
Like,
good.
Unusual. And it's special.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you were like, so do you think that your parents, they said they saw you and they were like,
That's a Darolyn right there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yes. Except there was a discrepancy in the spelling for a long time.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah?
Yes. My father he would spell it D-A-R-I, and my mom spelled it just like Carolyn with a D, D-A-R-O. And until a couple of years ago, before my dad died, he was like, so you've been spelling it like that all along? Yes, sir. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's just like my daughter's name. She, her name's Adina, but like everybody that sees it, because it's spelled with an I, they're like, Indiana. And I'm like, no, Adina.
I like that.
That's very different.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just an I instead of a It's
and it.
We're working on sounds.
I love it. Yes. We went from learning
like
names
Darolyn. Yes.
to
Like
learning the creation to learning how to enunciate. So
we're getting names. We're getting,
I
don't know.
So
Ben is just Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
family name.
Ginger Ben.
Yeah.
Ginger Ben.
Ginger Ben.
Ginger Ben. That's even better.
Yeah.
I just yelled down the hallway and said, "Hey, Red."
Yep. I'm just associated with the color.
All the time. Yeah. Oh, you got a name for everybody, Lord.
Well, it's
Jesus.
actually good because if you don't get a nickname from me, it's probably that I really don't want to talk to you.
Oh, okay. Yes. So
Wow.
we know that now. We know that. Now I can use that while we're at work.
Yeah, right.
I love it.
So let's get real. So
Yeah.
Darolyn, where are you from?
I love it.
I am from Baltimore, Maryland,
Mm-hmm.
born and raised, schooled there until college. I seem to have done the I-95 college tour. So,
Right.
I went to Western Maryland College, which is no longer called Western Maryland College. That's another story. I also went to Norfolk State. I went to East Carolina, and then finally, Morgan and Villanova. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Just up and down 95.
Just all over the
Wow.
place.
That's-
Yes.
Yeah. So you basically went to like 24 years of school.
Oh, pretty much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. And then now, where are you?
And everything.
I am now at Johns Hopkins Hospital, the Johns Hopkins. I am a nurse anesthetist, and which means I give anesthesia and care for patients in the perioperative period. and I've been there since 2014 as a CRNA. But I started there also, like that was my first nursing job when I was a bedside nurse.
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
The full circle.
Yes, for some reason I feel like they pump stuff through the vents. It's an addiction.
Well, that's a good addiction because of what you do.
Mhm.
You know.
Thank you.
Yes, and you've been doing it for so long. I love, and you have a actual genuine love for it. So
yeah,
I do, which is surprising. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
well, only because there's certain people that do it that like they just do it because it's a job. You have to kind of have a love for what you do. So
yeah,
that's very commendable and very honoring to hear that.
Thank you
I
very
remember
much.
you going to school through all of that. And sometimes we will be at your house and you talk about nursing and all of that. I'd be like, oh wow, now you're winning awards. And so tell us about the award that you won, because that is an awesome award to win.
So I was nominated by a colleague. I thought it was going to be just a hospital award kind of thing. So right before the pandemic struck, I was getting kind of salty because I would see other people's pictures around the hospital. I'm like, well, where's my award? And then I was contacted by the Washington Post. So this is the first year that they're honoring nurses, healthcare workers who have been on the front line in the DMV area. So I was one of 100 chosen to be a star nurse in the DMV.
All right.
So, and it's
amazing.
truly an honor.
Yes. That's amazing. I'm so proud of you.
I'm too proud of her.
So nice. I mean, when you got the call from the Washington Post, like how did that feel to just reach out to you and be like, hey, we want to interview you, and also check this out, you won this.
Yeah, and did you ignore the call a couple of times, or did you?
Right, like
I wish it was a call. They emailed me. So the first email they sent out was to let me know that I've been nominated, and they had 600 applicants or nominees. So I thought, oh, okay. And then maybe a month or two went by, and then they said, I got another email saying that they had chosen, they had narrowed it down to 100. But at that point, it wasn't 100 star nurses. It was just, now we're in a pool of 100. And I thought, oh, that's impressive. And then after that, it was, oh, you are one of 100 star nurses in the DMV area. And I thought, wow.
That felt good.
Yeah.
That was impressive. So now I had to take back all that attitude I was given when I would come up the escalators at Hopkins, like, where's my award? So
yeah.
It was definitely, I mean, really an honor that my colleagues thought enough of me to submit my name and everything. So
wow,
that's awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
To help
That
put
is
into
amazing.
perspective, how many people, I mean, I know every hospital is different size-wise, but how many nurses just in general work at Johns Hopkins?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Johns Hopkins is a conglomerate of hospitals. So it's not just the main campus downtown Baltimore. They have Bayview, Howard County, Suburban, Sibley, a whole bunch of hospitals. It's a lot. Actually, Johns Hopkins used to be the largest private employer in the state of Maryland. So that's a lot.
Why did I think it was? I did not know it was private. I don't know what made me think it wasn't private.
Yeah, no, it's private, and supposed to be nonprofit. yet they
Like
kept
the word
reporting.
supposed to be. I love that.
Oh, oops.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. How does that work with nonprofit? Like, it just doesn't make, it doesn't add up.
It doesn't,
No.
and that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Because
It
the
doesn't.
name Johns Hopkins itself sounds so exclusive.
Right. Right. So that's what
They,
I did not know the whole private side, and then
Mm-hmm.
I know it was not for profit. So that's
How has it been working in like the current pandemic environment?
so it's stressful every day. Um, when they just back in March is when they decided to halt the ORs, basically, except for emergency surgeries that need to be done, like your traumas or, people who are coming in with heart attack, whatever condition that need to be addressed at that time. So they would have their surgeries, but all of the electives, the ones that are scheduled in advance, they were stopped. And for those of us CRNAs that were in the ORs, quite a few of us opted to go help in the ICUs, the COVID ICUs, and I saw a lot of stuff that I could not explain, that I'd never seen before, just to see how sick these patients were and how long they would be in those ICUs, and their conditions could change
rapidly.
sometimes every 30 minutes.
Wow.
Seem like you're coasting and you just want them to be stable, if nothing else. And then just like that, now they are requiring more and more, interventions. And I can't tell you how we would go into those rooms with, you have to gown up and put on the proper, personal protection equipment. And when you come out, you would have sweated so much in those rooms that your scrubs are wet, soaking wet. That's how much work would go into trying to care for these patients. And then it was really hard because at that time, family members were not allowed. So sometimes I would try to whisper in the patient's ear to just encourage them.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was emotionally draining because you're giving yourself, you really want these people to get better.
Right.
Yeah.
So now that once things started to kind of level off in the state of Maryland and even in Baltimore, they opened the ORs up, and I was told at the time, so I was in the ICU from end of March until June. And when I got back to the ORs, I was told that Hopkins was about 3,000 to 5,000 cases behind.
Oh, wow.
So that's a lot of money, and it's a lot of cases. So they've been trying to, get people done, to avoid the wait, but now it's requiring patients who are having these scheduled procedures to have their COVID testing done within a certain amount of time prior to having the procedures done. And some patients, we've had a couple of instances where people have refused to be tested. So now it has to be a discussion between the team, amongst the team members, the surgeon, the nurses, anesthesia providers, how we're going to proceed,
Some people are refusing the test.
Yeah. I was
Yes.
like, why would somebody deny the test?
Is it because of belief?
Well, some people.
Is it because they're scared to know?
I don't know if it's that they're scared to know, but some of them just are firm in it that they don't have to be tested. And there are people that truly think that this is a glorified flu, or they think that it's not as bad as media is making it. So, or they just don't believe it's really happening.
So
there are actually people like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a good thing that you're on, because I would really like for you to actually say that, like, this is real. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, it's real.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
is really
I
real.
really think
Yeah.
that people don't understand that it's, there's still skeptics out there that are going around going, the numbers are inflated.
Yeah. So many conspiracies, and I don't
You
I
know,
don't like it.
I would just like for people to recognize what it is, and then
Mhm.
even if you have a little bit of skepticism, you have to also recognize that there's actually a virus out there
Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
to contend with. But there's this whole idea of, oh, the government wants this to happen, to inflate the numbers. But why would you want to say, let's just, go from just calling it coronavirus? Why would you say, oh yeah, we have a drug problem in this area, but we're only going to put out that it's actually 10% versus 50% or something,
Right.
some
Mhm.
number like that, which is crazy to me. Like, people really think that it's fake.
Right.
That's just,
Yeah.
it's appalling. And like I've said this before, the mental makeup of a human being should be first. Obviously, you want to investigate to be firm on it, but you gotta believe our medical people that it's
Because
actually
you all are dealing with it, correct?
right
Right.
on a daily basis. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether you watch this, Darolyn, but that the people that they ushered in front of the White House to speak to
I
the
did see that. And I can't tell you, I was amazed. And so prior to watching that, I at my church, let's talk about the church.
Mhm.
At my church, we are fortunate enough to have quite a few nurses and doctors who are congregants there, and we are on the health and wellness ministry.
All right.
And so we were charged with coming up with a protocol for safely opening up the church. But we were given the dates. So it wasn't that we could say, I don't think you should do this. It was, we're going to open on this day. And so you all have to come up with the protocol. And it was frustrating to see that we were divided. These are
Mm-hmm.
healthcare professionals.
Yeah.
But I think 1, 2, 3 of us, 4. Well, he's a podiatrist. No shade. I'm just saying. Who actually are involved with patient care. The ones that were involved with patient care, direct patient care, were the loudest. But the other ones, I guess they were pretty much going along taking the path of a religious obligation. You know what I mean? So it was more of, let's not have a spirit of fear, blah, blah, blah. And my whole thing was, let's not have a spirit of foolishness, because I'm not trying to go back to the ICUs because you all want to do dumb stuff.
Right.
Right.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I meant all of that in love, but at this, you know how I get.
I know.
I mean, there was a slight argument with one of the deacons at the business meeting because they really weren't hearing anything. So the next thing I know, I ended up being in charge. I didn't want to be in charge. So I was voluntold that I'm in charge of this. And so I had a list of things that I felt needed to be done in order to have the congregants come back. And not all of them were coming. And it was a fight for 3 Sundays, just to get HEPA filters in there and make sure we have proper ventilation. I mean, our pastor has health issues. So why are we jeopardizing him and the older congregants and people who have, other health issues that might want to come out? And to hear one of my fellow nurses say, well, I ate at a restaurant indoors. And I looked at her like, why? why were you indoors? And why would you feel safe doing something like that
Right.
in a pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
That makes no sense to me.
Right.
So their whole thing was, well, if people are going out to the store, then they should be able to come and have the option to come to church. Okay.
But
We have also live streaming, so
right.
they don't have to sit in the
Yeah.
building.
Is that there's no church that lasts, let's just say, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Church is
Church is
church. At
So you're not going to go to church for a 20-minute sermon and walk.
Right.
So,
And that's what I told them. I said, so when you go to the store, do you spend an hour, 90 minutes in the store?
right.
Because I don't think you do.
I don't think
And you're moving through the store.
and
Yeah.
So, but you're talking
have
about sitting in a building. Like,
Yeah.
let's not be, I mean, come on.
Singing, clapping, moving around.
Oh, that was
Right.
a whole other thing. You know, you can't have a full choir. And
Right.
then I had to hit them with a couple of the outbreaks that were caused at church gatherings, choir rehearsals,
right.
funerals, anywhere where they had large numbers of people.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting.
Is beyond me. I'm just very confused as to why people are still sitting there trying to argue stuff like that. Like,
Right.
I think it's
the healthcare professionals
Right.
arguing this, which blows my mind. Like,
so when I saw that group of doctors who let that African lady, I think she's Nigerian, I'm not sure, do all of the talking, and I watched their facial expressions as she was doing all of that talking, and I thought, how did we get here?
right.
And how is this okay? And what population of people is she seeing? And how is she making all of her staff take this medication that has been proven to have severe side effects?
Side effects.
Oh, I mean, let's say that again. Severe side effects.
That's what drives me crazy, is that somebody sits there and goes, this is approved to work, but your leg could fall off.
Right. Right.
What?
But it's just one leg, Herb.
Just one
Yeah,
leg.
you still have another leg.
Still have
Yeah.
another leg.
Yes.
Or your kidneys could shrivel up, and
Right. Right.
Oh, and in about 15 years, your liver could, go, but you'd be all right for 15 years.
15 years though, you got a little bit.
Do the math, like you could live 15 more years.
I don't know. It baffles me because where we are, in our DMV bubble, right? For those who are watching us outside of here, if you are, I feel like we're taking care of ourselves just a little bit better than other areas, which is really good to see. Because in Northern Virginia now we have an app where you can access whether or not you've been around an area that has been tested positive for COVID, as well as if you've been exposed to it, right? And then it'll tell you, like, you can find out how to get tested here and blah, 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 right? And I like that because, I don't know, for some reason it makes me feel like a little bit secure, right?
You want to feel safe.
And then, you go to work, and the people at work are also being mindful and not going outside of their, work, the store, home, and then you have people who now we've started to like rotate vacation, and it's just interesting to see the areas, because I've been in this house for a week, and like we've been in the house. We went to the beach because we knew we could like go, and it would just be us, right? Mm-hmm. And then we don't have, like, we're not going to the boardwalk, any of that madness, because it's just, I'm petrified, but I also don't want to jeopardize my coworkers. Right. And then I see people who walk around outside here with like no mask, just, no cares, no wonders in the world. And you go back home,
faces,
and everybody is masked. And it's just, it's so weird to see the different cultures. But to figure out how the government is not like putting pressure on individuals to like protect themselves in other areas.
They can't do that because that's infringing upon people's liberties. And I don't understand. I'm like, so when they came up with the seatbelt laws, you didn't feel like that was infringing upon your liberty to ride?
Yeah,
And fly out the car.
Yeah.
You want to be a
Yeah,
little
I mean,
in the car when you're driving,
right.
85 an hour. You know, that's
So, and I said, I don't understand how a mask sets people off to this point. It's the craziest thing ever. So,
I really think that you know, I think like laws, constitution, all of that stuff needs to be rewritten.
Look at you, Herb. You ready to rewrite it, man?
mm-mm. Look, Herb wants to be a Broadway play instead of Hamilton. That Coach Herb.
But it's, life would be different. Let's just put it that way, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
If it was Herb style. Yeah.
I don't think they're ready for me. Let's just put it that way.
Oh man.
Darolyn, would you take a second to kind of speak to our audience, let them know what caused you to get into nursing? I feel, especially the conversation that we just kind of had, you know, compassion is a huge commodity right now. And from reading your bio from the Washington Post about the being highlighted as a top 100 nurse, I know there's some really great reasoning why you kind of went into nursing. So would you mind speaking on that?
Well, nursing was kind of okay. A thing about me, I don't always take the straight path to things. I don't know why that is. Maybe I get distracted. I want to look at pretty shiny things along the way. So I had plans to go to med school initially, and did not do so well with interviews. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why, but that's a whole different story. So I planned to reapply, but in that time, I'd gone back to school and got a master's and started working, and then met some really fun people and started traveling. And then my grandfather got sick. And in that time, I helped care for him until he passed away, and realized that maybe being a doctor wasn't for me, but having that hands-on, nurturing, compassionate connection with a patient, that was the thing that I enjoyed. So I decided to go into nursing with the goal of becoming a CRNA. So I wanted to make sure each patient that I took care of got the best of me, and always had some type of personal touch, you know, a kind word, or even if they're nervous, you know, try to, you know, I have a bag of corny jokes that I might tell them to make them feel at ease. And sometimes it's just, you know, I might hug, we can't hug now, but an elbow rub, to try to ease people's fears and make them calm. So with being a CRNA, you meet these people who don't know you, and you have maybe 3 minutes or less to try to convince them that you're going to be their ultimate caretaker, that you're going to make sure that they stay safe through their intraoperative period. And, you know, any kind of questions or, you know, anxiety that they may have at that moment, you have to work very hard to gain their trust and allay a lot of those fears. Because I can't tell you how many people will say, oh, I knew so-and-so who, you know, their cousin died from anesthesia. It's always anesthesia's fault and not anything else. You know what I mean? So never mind a surgeon who might nick something and they bleed out. It was anesthesia's fault. Okay.
Right.
So, you know, you try to calm them, you know, try, you know, push those fears aside with those people, because it's not going to work if they don't trust you.
Right. Right. I've had a few procedures, and it definitely, going into it, you want to have a good feeling. And if you're if the people around you make you feel good, I think you also go into the situation with less anxiety, let's just say,
Yeah.
into it, which is very, 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 very needed in this field.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some great work that you're doing in the community also needs to be shared. In the bio again, you kind of mentioned some work that you're doing with the kids in your area. Would you be able to kind of tell our audience what you do?
Yes, I didn't know that you read everything.
Let's just say read is thorough.
He
Yes.
was very thorough. So I work with a youth group of girls anyway, and so we encourage, community service, leadership, conducting themselves accordingly. Even when they have their meetings, we make sure they follow Robert's rules, and a lot of mentoring with them. And so that's one side. But at work, we have a program where the high school kids can come in and shadow a CRNA. So my first person happened to be one of the girls from the youth group. I did not know that I had impressed her like that. She was more like a daughter to me. So I knew that I kind of got on her nerves like a mother would with a kid or whatever. So when she sent me a message and then had her high school counselor reach out to me and tell me that she would like to come for, well, I guess it was the whole school year, her senior year. I found out that at Hopkins, we have this program where we reach out to the high schools, or the high schools can reach out to us, and they can shadow the CRNAs for a whole year. And usually it's, they're on our schedules. It's a little hard if they come in half day because Hopkins is so big and their badges might not work. And then you can't leave the ORs to try to locate these kids. It's just easy
Right.
if they start the day with you. And the Michaela, I'll say her first name, she stayed with me, and I also put her with other CRNAs because I don't really do peds. So, anyone who was available to take her for the whole day, I made sure that she had a lot of the experiences that she wanted to have. And when she finished high school, she ended up going to Norfolk State, full scholarship in the nursing program. And she wants to become a nurse anesthetist. So the following year was another kid from her high school who, Matthew, will kind of remind you of, I can't think of it, Bruno Mars.
Okay.
And so he thought he was a cutie. I mean, he was a cutie pie, but, he thought he was a hot thing. It was all about his hair. Matthew, please put your scrub hat on, please. Just, it was hard keeping him focused, but he also graduated high school, and I think he's going to Brigham Young, and he's going into nursing as well. But his mom was also a nurse. I can't really take credit for that, but
You're gonna take credit for that.
yeah,
Yes.
just a little bit. I was his unofficial auntie because he needed a whole lot of
aunties.
Like redirecting.
Right.
A whole lot.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we do. We just try to make sure we get kids. It's important to me for the kids in the community to see that there are other options besides being, I don't know, I mean, without sounding condescending, Hopkins is a huge employer in the East Baltimore area, and a lot of people do some of the work, like their EVS, they clean, they do security and stuff like that. I just want them to see that there are other tracks available to them besides that. I mean, everyone's work is important. I strongly believe that. I don't ever feel like my job is more important than the person who comes in and cleans the ORs. But I want the kids to see everything from the top to the bottom. So
I love
that's
that.
kind of my thing.
Like you guys, hourly wise, do you? I'm assuming that that's in the same realm of like 4 days a week, 4 on, 3 off. Is that kind of the?
So, and on the OR side for the nurse anesthetist, we have different shifts. We can do 8s, 10s, 12s. Some people do 16-hour shifts.
Oh,
I can't. That's not for me. I can't do that.
I'm
Something
sorry.
happens to me.
I
I morph into
do it.
something else after 7
16
p.m.
hours of work
Yeah, I can't do that. So
on your feet all day.
yeah, running back and forth, and it's a long time to be in one place. 16 hours, it really is. So I do 4 10s, but for OR nurses and bedside nurses, in the ICUs or the other units, they might do. Well, actually, the OR nurses are more on the schedule of the ORs. So maybe some are, I think they also have the 8s and 12s. I don't think they have 10 hours.
okay.
I'm not sure. It just varies.
Yeah.
So I'd be really interested to hear, your thoughts and opinions as a nurse, especially since we were just talking about, your mentoring ship of high school kids. What are your thoughts about elementary school age kids to middle, high school, and even college now trying to go back into school? Now, a lot have said we're going distance learning from the jump, but we are seeing that other places in the U.S. have started to, have kids come back already. They've been there for a week or two, and then some are changing the course after a week or after a month,
Georgia?
whatever the case might be. So what are
Georgia?
your thoughts about that?
Georgia? Yeah.
Is that who's doing that?
Georgia is one of the states that has
Yes.
welcomed kids back to school already.
Ah, okay.
Yes, they have. And then they have a huge outbreak in one of the districts. And I just did not understand again. But of course, you have to take into consideration the governor of Georgia, who basically
announced it.
He will not say that it's, he won't mandate masks.
Right.
He even tried to sue the mayor, right?
He did. He tried it.
Yeah, I still don't understand that. But
I don't get that.
So it's totally political. And when it comes to people's children, there should be no politics.
Right.
Ever.
Thank you.
Ever.
Darolyn.
So for high school kids, I just figure I would have to talk to the parents to see why they would think that it's okay. Or, at this point, it's not even about socialization, which is the argument I heard for younger children.
Right.
But, and you can't even keep younger kids from, they want to touch things and touch everybody and, put the mask on their head, or in the back of their neck, because now it makes it look like a shark or something. I don't know. But, all of these things. Well, let's rewind to, I watched the press conference where they wanted the CDC. They thought that CDC's original guidelines for opening the schools was too strict. And the president he thought they're going to have to redo it. And so the CDC caved. And I thought, why would you cave? These are still people's children.
Right.
And so now that you've had these outbreaks, I just want to know, how is that okay? And what were the parents thinking? Or they just think, okay, my kid has COVID now, so, they'll be back in school in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
What? I don't understand the mindset. And as far as the smaller children, so one of my girlfriends has, I think Eva is 5 or 6. And she goes to one of the private schools here in Baltimore. And one of the things that she said that sticks out in my mind that kind of moved me was, she said that she spent all summer trying to keep her baby safe. And now you're talking about me handing my child over to you. to other people who will be in a class with other kids who spent their summers at summer camp and doing all kinds of things. She said, I'm not doing it. And I thought that is a good point. These parents who are, adhering to the rules, they're putting in all this effort to keep their kids safe. But you have these other people telling you what you should be doing with your kids.
Well, is there, like, when these schools are opening up, like you said, like the private school in Baltimore area, are they having some sort of like protocol as far as testing?
So the last I heard, she said that I think that was one of the questions that the parents were asking of the school, like what is going to be the protocol? But I think now, since they've seen the other schools who have had issues with opening, they have reconsidered having full on class. So they are offering, the home teleschooling thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I thought, okay, let's jump to the colleges. I've had 2 colleagues who dropped their kids off. One went to South Carolina, and the other's college is in Georgia. And, they're nurses. And one of them, I actually talked to, and she's just nervous, totally nervous. She said, oh, I know she's going to, they're going to be parties. And then the next thing you know, we see Chapel Hill,
Mm-hmm.
where the kids have been partying,
Mm-hmm.
and they have this huge outbreak.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is, I have 2 questions. The colleges know every year what happens when the kids come back. There's always that.
It's that
party that go on.
Party that.
Hello.
They got to get
everybody gets there. Everybody arrives.
So the
yes.
starts. Yeah.
I want to see what I can see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what were the colleges thinking, and why weren't they prepared for that? Number one. And number 2, now that you've had these outbreaks, should these kids be going back to their homes?
Right. Well, that's the problem with North Carolina. They're sending those kids back home.
And I don't think they should do that. I think they should let them stay there.
Right.
Quarantine.
because exactly. Quarantine them there.
You've already opened that can of worms. Just go ahead. Let it ferment where it is.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's the craziest thing. So clearly, even though these places said, oh, we're prepared, they were not prepared.
Right.
You cannot truly be prepared. And I feel as if they didn't really think all of these things through, because, bottom line is this is all money.
Right.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can't charge full tuition if half of the kids are staying home,
That's right.
Room and board. What's that?
Room and board is room and board is almost.
That's where they make their money. Room and board.
Yeah, room and board is almost half of what the whole tuition is. So
exactly.
Exactly. We're talking about North Carolina being a public school. It's a state school. It's not a private school. So their revenue is room and board, and
right.
So
it's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
It's awful. I just can't imagine. All I keep thinking is, these are people's children. How do you think this is okay? And the parents don't know. They just figure, okay, well, they're telling me that my child has to report to school, or I mean, I don't know. I didn't really want to get into it with my colleague. I love her to death. And when I tell you she was nervous already, I just made a comment about the environment, and she started unraveling on me. And I thought, oh, okay, we're not going to have a full conversation right now.
Yes.
She's not going to make it to the end of the day at all.
Yeah.
I did offer to ride shotgun if she needed to go down to South Carolina to get you know me. You need a ride? Okay, let's go.
Yeah, it's wild. My dad is down in North Carolina now, and he's like, no one's respecting anyone's space. They're all kind of just
funny, like you come from
on top of each other, and like he's just like kind of stay my distance, because
you literally feel like every state you go to, you're in a different country.
Yeah.
Like amazing to me that that's a universal law, but people don't follow that law. Like, it's not, we're not saying you're going to be arrested, but please, like, I don't know whether you can.
You're asking people to be courteous.
Yeah, can you cater to somebody else's?
Could
Like,
they even be courteous
I want you to say to
themselves?
somebody, do
Take
you
care
care
of themselves.
about your neighbor?
Yeah.
Like all these religious people, do you care about your neighbor? Because that says it. It says that in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Can you follow that? Just for
Look at you, Herbert.
Like, I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, how can you be religious and then turn around and say you are taking my rights away from me, or I will not do this? Or the one that's even scarier to me is that God will protect me from this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard a story the other day. I hate to go on a tangent, but this guy,
I want this
he
story.
was very religious, right? And there was let's just say like a hurricane that's on its way to their area, and it's been on the news. So a neighbor knocks on his door. He's like, "Hey, we need to get out of here." And the gentleman said, "No, no, no, no. My God is going to protect me. I am fine." So next thing happens, stuff start happening, and helicopters, flying, and the water's rising, everything. Oh, no, no, no! God is going to protect me. Okay, and so then now the water's risen, and the area is flooding, and a guy comes by in a boat, knocks on his door, said, "Hey, come on, man. We got to get out of here. We're not
Mm-hmm.
gonna." Oh, no, no, no. God is gonna protect me. I'm gonna be protected by the Lord. And so then obviously he doesn't make it. He gets to pearly gates and he goes up to God and Jesus and says, "Hey, how come y'all didn't protect me from passing away?" And God stood up and said to him, I sent you a helicopter, I sent you a boat, I sent you a warning, and you did not listen to any of those warnings and stayed where you were. I mean, I don't know what else to do for you, man. Like, that's the mindset of people. I hate to go on that tangent, but like that's
No, but
That
that's
was deep,
real.
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Mm-hmm.
what I'm going to be protected by God. Yes. God is telling you wear a mask, man.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If all these religious people would say, God said wear a mask, God said wash your hands, I'm assuming that you would start to listen. I don't know. God's not going to protect you if you don't want to protect yourself.
Are you creating a new pages in the Bible? Are you creating new chapter? Okay.
The book of Herb.
Book of Herb.
The New Testament, the New Testament,
The new, right?
The new.
New Testament.
No,
I
to
love
your
it.
point on that, one of the people at my church quoted a scripture, but he only quoted part of it,
Right.
which is, "For God have not given us the spirit of fear." And of course, my mom was ear hustling, and most of the time I have to put the Zoom meetings on mute because she likes to yell out. So she's like, "You didn't say the whole scripture. It also says, but of power and of love and of sound mind. And he should be," oh my God. First, I need her to calm down.
Yes.
Right.
But her point is valid. You're only quoting part of the scripture to support your unwise decision. Okay, so let's just say the whole thing. God has also given you a sound mind to make sound decisions, wise decisions, not this craziness of, this is my liberty and you can't tell me what to do. Okay, but you also want me to take care of you when you show up at the hospital, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes. Well, on
Let's
that note,
sound mind like at that point, could I?
that's right.
Let's go on a tangent. You know how we do.
I love it. On that note, sounds like a few people may need a beer. It's been an interesting conversation. I love it because today's Lord, the small business of choice is Aslan Beer Company. And Aslan Beer Company is one of my favorites. We live pretty close to it. We can actually walk to it if we wanted to from work. That's a bit much. We won't be doing that because we probably pick up too much beer. But they have a Alexandria location, a Herndon location, a Herndon beer garden, and they also do curbside pickup as well and delivery. So I'm pretty excited to have them featured on our podcast. And I visited them and was able to take a few pictures and such. So I'll be making a quick video about them. But Aslan Beer Company, and I'll put their information down here, of course, to have you access their website. So yes.
Oh, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Do they offer any testing for healthcare workers?
That is a great question. You might be able to get whatever you want if you buy beer.
Sounds like.
You like that? Yeah. Sounds like you can get whatever you want.
Good answer.
The beer is literally what's the cheapest pack then? Because I feel like the cheapest pack I've bought is $16.
Yeah, I was gonna say for 4 beers, yeah, maybe $14 to $16.
Right, exactly. So just buy a few more, and they'll probably do whatever you want.
Okay, I'm gonna
and throw in a sticker.
Maybe come on down there.
Get a
little stroll.
Yes.
For curbside pickup, of course.
Curbside pickup.
That's right.
Pull
That's
up
right.
with a mask on.
Whoa, I've got plenty of masks.
And they will put it right in the back seat.
Yeah.
Wherever you want it.
I love it. Well, we're at the end of this podcast, and I thank you for coming on.
Yes,
I love you. You're my family, so it's awesome to have a cousin of mine on and experience what you do on a daily basis by providing for people who are in need, and also, telling us what your current experience is with the pandemic happening. So I truly appreciate it. Yeah. And I'm so proud of you for your work. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm proud of you all.
And thanks for the nickname.
Oh, I tried not to call her the nickname. It's killing me.
Gotta love it.
I love my pinky.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I know.
They have you guys have never heard anybody call me that, huh?
It just makes us seem so young when you say that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thanks, her. I am young. Spirit. Spirit is everything.
You got kids.
Spirit.
Oh my gosh.
Not the body. I feel old. The spirit, though.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Well, thank you for
much.
joining us.
Yes. Thank you for having me. It is truly an honor and a privilege. I really mean that.
And I mean, it's actually very, very honoring that we also we have to say thank you to you on another one, just for being on the front lines of this whole situation, this pandemic that we're dealing with. So, I salute you. I thank you. We appreciate you for what you do. So,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
On that note, thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Peace and love.
Thank you. Yes.
Stay healthy and all of that jazz.
Yes, heard him. All of it.
The Real to Real podcast is presented by Herbert Williams Beffo and Bianca Moskaitis. Our producer is Ben Runyon. Our technical director is Nick Patry. Audio and video lead is Megan Kotner. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow and like us on Facebook and Instagram at Real to Real, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, or anywhere else podcasts are found. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. It's been real with Coach Herb and B.